What if instead of your hips being the thing that's keeping you back from advanced athleticism and being able to enjoy powerful freedom of movement, there was just a couple of silly moves that we could do that would actually unlock your hips and generate much more power in terms of your movement, much more flexibility, and much more freedom of movement. The first one that we want to go into is putting the feet nice and wide. Sometimes it's difficult to get to the hips to open up, and we're going to start fixing that today with some of these basic positions. And this first one is called a high horse stance, and we're going to go kind of wide with the feet. Now, just getting into this position might start some tremors for you. It might be difficult to hold this for long periods of time. An example of a strict horse stance would be like this. Toes are forward, knees are pressing out, and the legs are level. So just so that you guys can see the contrast, this is a little bit higher and a little bit wider. This is kind of a base that we're gonna start to work from to build more advanced movements at the one end of the spectrum, all the way to really beginner level things and kind of rehabilitating the hips, rehabilitating the squat, and allowing for greater movement. So this is the first position that we're gonna get into, and we're gonna actually start to tilt to the side a little bit. We're gonna come into this stance here. If we start to straighten out this leg and point the toes all in one direction, 45 degrees is a really good position to be in. And then we start to take that knee and bend it down, and you can start to feel your hip start to almost feel that locking sensation, sort of. So this is kind of a basic stance that we use to start to build the legs in terms of static strength and really the ability to have a good foundation of just iron solid strength with the legs that will eventually become much more advanced, like being able to jump, roll, flip, vault, and do all these really cool things that apply to every other area of life. Number one, that's the most important, being able to have health and happiness, but also all of your adventurous activities, whether that's hiking or snowboarding or surfing or whatever that may be to you. So this is one of our stances, as we call them, a bow stance here. And we want to have this leg ideally parallel with the ground. Now, before we go any further, I do have to say, please don't mistake mine or anybody else's videos for instruction. That is a sure recipe to get yourself stuck, frustrated, maybe even injured, and I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to go up level by level. So get with quality coaching and into a positive community, because both of those two things are like adding fuel to a fire or like a rocket. You're gonna go to levels that you didn't even realize were possible for you. And this is just the beginning here with this bow stance. Obviously, we do need to do both sides. And just doing static holds like this for a lot of people will be extremely demanding, especially in these positions that are kind of outside your comfort zone. And that's where your training should actually go. A lot of times people's training, or really working out in those mainstream kind of methods that I always talk about, those are going to be within a person's comfort zone. So going on the treadmill, going to the yoga classes, doing the weightlifting, those are fine for a time. But like I always say, it's kind of like the elementary level. You do want to graduate up to higher levels. And so these are elementary stances that we're beginning with. Now, we don't want to just stop here, because the hip joint is designed to move in much greater ranges of motion. Just like the shoulder, we can make full circles with the arm, or we should be able to. And shoulder mobility and health, that's a whole different ball game, and I've made other videos about that. And that will eventually lead all the way up to handstands and flares and vaulting and a number of other skills, all the way up to level 10. And we have 10 levels of training across 5 different elements in our Powerbatics training. But the hip should be able to move and come all the way down to this position here, and we call this a snake stance. And so we should be able to be comfortable down here. And again, just like I demonstrated, shifting from side to side in these bow stances and then coming up back to a high horse stance, we should be able to do the same thing way down here in this snake stance and be able to stay low and shift to the other side. And again, with that hip joint, we want the hip joint to be able to have a lot of ability and strength and flexibility and all of these ranges of motion the same way that the shoulders have them. They should function relatively in the same manner, but oftentimes they don't. And that's gonna lead to a lot of different problems down the line if this isn't resolved. You know, you kind of come into the world with kind of as a blank canvas with the strength and flexibility very natural. And what happens is people let that go over, you know, a couple of years, even as a kid. If they're sitting in front of screens and having poor nutrition and not doing any sort of physical movement, then by the time they're as young as even just 10 years old or 12 years old, they're depreciating in all of the strength and flexibility that they did have coming into the world. And then if you extrapolate that to a person who's in their 20s, they're already complaining about feeling older past their prime, or 30s or 40s or 50s, and people have done that for decades. Then it's gonna be a project to get back to this level of strength and flexibility, which are basics in terms of body weight strength. So let's continue going from there. So we've gone here, bow, being able to transition back and forth, snake, being able to transition back and forth. And then I saw my team working on these the other day. And we talked about it, and we thought that this would be a really good idea to do a video about this for the hips. And I can remember having to sit in a low squat and stuff whenever I dealt with back pain a long time ago. It's gotta be like over a decade at this point. But these moves that I'm showing you, I've implemented myself to help with that. And then it's just a matter of allowing the body to adapt, and you will work past some of those issues. But man, those positions can trigger a lot of pain if you're already bound up and tight from, number one, a lot of weightlifting. And I don't mean to pick on these things, but I do see these sort of mainstream things being used that cause problems and a snowball effect for a lot of people because they're not going outside their comfort zone. So let's keep pushing the comfort zone a little bit. So we're down in this snake stance position like this here, and we can put the hands on the ground, but when we do want to shift up and bring that heel off of the ground like this. And so this motion right here might be a challenge that you want to try, and take these moves as a challenge. Don't necessarily take them as a full workout or a magic pill that's going to fix everything, because we all know that that's not going to be the case. But use them as a test, just as a little challenge, just to see. And this mobility right here in the ankle, just to see where you're at with that. So if we're down here like this, I saw my team working on this, and we use basics like these, and these are applicable in so many other areas of life and just feeling good and being able to move. But I saw the muscles actually working and people trying to learn these moves. So bringing the foot to the front like this, and then the hands to the side. We call this a swipe stance like this, because this can turn into a move called a swipe, which looks like this. And then we're back down in that position. But just holding the leg up off of the ground to be able to start and initiate that position and that movement, just that can be a tremendous difficulty and a good challenge to start working on. Just moving that leg back and forth. And I was just thinking about whenever I'm watching my students and my team train, I kind of juxtapose that mentally to what I know is out there in terms of fitness and what I've seen people do for decades upon decades. And then I see that holistic, comprehensive development of strength. And you know, people might mistake this for breakdancing or something like that, or why in the world would I need to be able to do that? But I guarantee you, not being able to do it actually brings problems that you wouldn't even realize. So being able to have that natural movement, which it is very natural, and let's go through piece by piece. So we're down in the snake stance, but heel up now. We're using the hip. Think about this, just sitting down and lifting your leg to the side. Can you do that in terms of a challenge for yourself? And then being able to, with coordination, bring that leg to the front, and then come over, shift the weight into the hands, And then coming up off of this foot, using your upper body strength, and then not just plopping your foot down really loud like this, but having the control to still keep it suspended in the air. These are important concepts for every single person, no matter your age, level, or background. And that's why people hire us, whether they're surgeons, doctors, physical therapists, pro athletes that are trying to get back to where they were. Maybe they're engineers or software developers. All of these different folks hire us to help them train, because these methods apply to everyone in every situation, because it's human movement. You get where I'm coming from? So let's start to put all of this together a little bit. We have a high horse stance. This is working the medial glutes. It is forcing the hips to start to open up. We do want the knees pointing out. We don't want them sagging to the middle like this, which happens in a lot of cases. The knees come down to the middle and the background's like this, and people put their hands like this to try to hold on. We want to have those knees slightly out. We want the back up nice and straight, the toes out a little bit, and then shifting to one side for the bow stance. We want that leg to be nice and level here, and then shifting. As we do these, we can add some dynamic movement back and forth, snapping the body from position to position, and then coming down low because we have the full range in that hip, just like the shoulder joint, and then shifting back and forth, or being able to catch yourself from a high jump or landing low with control, maximizing the amount of mobility that you have in your hips. And then taking this through to some ankle mobility and keeping that leg suspended in the air as we circle, using the upper body in that holistic and comprehensive way that you simply do not get from mainstream methods of training. When you're doing isolated hypertrophic movements for just muscle building, again, there is a place for that, but that is not the totality of fitness. Comprehensive movement with power, that is where you want to get to. And that is what helps create athletic longevity. Not simply just exercising or doing fitness or doing the mainstream methods. And so these moves are going to help your hips tremendously. Again, let's go through these again as a challenge for yourself. A little bit of a high horse stance, bow stance on both sides, coming back, down low on both sides, then coming up, hands down, elevating the leg in front on the upper body strength, shifting to the other side, heel up, circling the foot, upper body strength, coming back. And just that alone, just as a test, might even be a good workout. So that's it. There's many, many, many more moves and skills and areas of strength that we build. This is just scratching the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, in terms of our Powerbatics training. And this is going to apply to 5 different areas, from hand balancing to free running to power moves to ninja strength and to circ, all underneath that umbrella of Powerbatics, as we call it, for body weight strength. I'll see you in the next video and in training soon.